Are you guys willing to bet against the Dodgers?
Sure.
In a World Series future, or do you think it's just lighting money on fire?
And are you?
Yes. My answer to your question is yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Spread Zone, and today is the kind of show that can set you that can set you up for a little while here, because we got the final major of the year at a legendary links track, NFL futures, where you could beat the number before the public wakes up, and then MLB World Series and playoff futures right after the All-Star break when the market finally starts to tell the truth. My name is Riz. There's Tim McKernan. Anthony Stalter back with us. We're recording this Wednesday, July 15th at noon Central. So, fellas, let's make some money.
Let's do it.
On the Spread Zone. And before we jump in, as always, our show is sponsored by FanDuel Sportsbook. If you're tailing, be smart, bankroll rules. Shop for the best number inside FanDuel's markets. And don't force action just to have action. I do want to start off with this one thing, kind of a gloat. Anthony, you weren't here last year. The Conor McGregor fight, McGregor-Holloway. I called it. I said, take Holloway, TKO KO, under 2.5 rounds. And what hit?
I mean, you had no sweat.
Yeah.
No sweat. Sweat free.
No
You probably
sweat.
knew within 5 seconds you were good, right?
No sweat. That first jump, and I go, yep.
That'll wrap her on up.
The only sweat I have was what they were going to call it.
Yeah. I see. Yeah.
Was it going to be, what were they going to call it? A KO, TKO. I wasn't sure what they were going to call it. Wound up calling it TKO.
Perfect. Cashola. Nice job.
Yeah, sweat-free cash. Those are nice. Well done. Tip of the cap.
You know what? I wish I was here then. I was at Girl Scout camp with my daughter Madeline, daddy-daughter Girl Scout camp, Tim.
Yeah.
98, sweltering heat, sleeping in a tent. But I could have been winning money right here.
You could have been winning money right here with the degenerates. Yeah, that was a sweat-free Saturday night.
Yeah, you convert on the UFC plays.
It was a bit of a disappointment. I was hoping for a little,
right,
for a little action, but I'll take the win.
Yeah, hey, sweat-free win. You can never argue with that.
All right, so let's talk Royal Birkdale, Tim.
Yep.
Wind, dunes, and the last major of the year. Southport, England. Mm-hmm. So you've got towering dunes, you've got tight landing areas, and that feeling that the golf course, as I've heard it described, the golf course is alive. So Royal Birkdale is a par 70, flat fairways running through valleys, but miss the short grass and you're flirting with thick native rough and a bunker count that feels actually personal. So what do you see with this course, Tim?
Usually you would have to be a little fearful. I think this week is going to be different. The British Open is famous for the conditions impacting the outcome more than any of the majors on the golf calendar. But this year, and I don't know if people are going to like this, because you won't have tee times impacting the winner. That kind of happened with Wyndham Clark winning the U.S. Open. That's rare at the U.S. Open. The forecast is impeccable. It's like Southern California weather.
Yeah, sustained coastal breeze, gusts living in the 10 to 20 mile an hour range. It's not apocalypse wind. It is enough that one bad ball, flight turns into 2 bogeys. Let's not say it's going to be.
Well, yeah, it's not pristine, but it relative to what it usually is there, where you actually, when you're betting the British Open, you're taking a look at the forecast. I mean, you should be taking a look at the forecast and the tee times and how it favors your particular player or how it goes against your particular player. And that really is beneficial on Thursday and Friday. In this particular case, as it stands now, the weather is expected to be something you would see in the United States as far as not being a big factor.
How do you like it?
For the British Open, I like it when it's rainy and windy, and this now becomes an Americanized event. Yeah, that's the variance. That's why it makes, from my standpoint, the most difficult event to bet. Now, last year we did see Scotty Scheffler win. 9 years ago, the last time it was at Royal Birkdale, we saw Jordan Spieth win. So both the British Open and Royal Birkdale have produced top caliber champions. Spieth certainly has fallen off from where he was with an incredible season more than a decade ago, but Scheffler, the best in the game still, and he is the defending champion, albeit at a different golf course. But Royal Birkdale is going to be tepid relative to what you usually think of when you think of British Open conditions.
How are you going to play this?
Well, there are a couple of plays that I like with regard to golfers, but my lead play for you gentlemen and all of the people in the Spread Zone audience is the following, and I love the play, but man, I hate when I say I love a play because it tends to then go against me, and that's what scares me, but I have to be open with the audience. That's where I am. It's a par 70, boys. Mm-hmm. So if you multiply 4 times 70, you get to 280. The total score for the winning score is set at 268.5. I think that is too high, and by that I mean I think the winning score will be better. Lower than
264?
268.5. I think that the defense for these golf courses, in particular at the British Open, but really just in general, but in particular at the British Open with these guys' talent, is the wind and the conditions. And with the wind and the conditions being eliminated this weekend, or at least drastically reduced, I think you're going to see players pick it apart. Now, that was the expectation at the PGA Championship, and it did not play out that way. It didn't even come close to playing out that way. So perhaps there will be a concerted effort, and this is what I wonder about. If I'm playing devil's advocate to my own play, there'll be a concerted effort going, okay, if we don't put the pins in ridiculous positions, these guys, somebody might shoot 20 under. So the way to counter it could be to do that. That's what I think they did at Aronimink for the PGA Championship. So along those lines, I have to stick with what I believe, and that is the conditions are so favorable that you're going to see players go super low. And therefore, my favorite play this week is not a player, a winner, a top 10, top 20. It is the winning score under 268.5 shots. That's the play that I love.
If you had to pick an outright winner.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I've done that. Don't you worry about that.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. If I absolutely had to pick an outright winner, if you will give me the berth of picking 2,
sure,
I would pick the following. I continue to roll with Matt Fitzpatrick. He did us well last week. He didn't win, but he was right there in the Scottish Open. I believe he finished T3 and was tied for the lead going into Sunday. He has just been so good. Matt Fitzpatrick is plus 1,500. I would say that's a chalky play in that he is behind Scheffler, McIlroy, and tied with the hometown favorite, Tommy Fleetwood, on this thing. And then if I were to scroll down and give you a little more value, it would be Collin Morikawa at plus 3,500. Morikawa was playing really well early in the year, then dealt with a back injury at the Players, and still was able to play pretty well despite that injury. He is an iron specialist. Iron specialists are incredibly valued in these style of golf courses because they flight the ball. It'll be teeing off with irons, so distance is mitigated, and that brings Collin Morikawa into the mix. One other one that I have circled would be Russell Henley. Now, you always bring up Russell Henley.
Yeah.
I'll be curious if you're on Russell Henley.
I'm not this week.
Okay. Russell Henley falls into that ball striker category that Morikawa does as well. The thing that I always note about Russell Henley is when he is in the mix for a major championship or the Ryder Cup last year, he just tends to tighten up. But I feel like this style of course lends itself to his style of play. And so Russell Henley at plus 4,500, Morikawa at plus 3,500, Fitzpatrick at plus 1,500. Those would be my plays, and those are the plays I've actually made as far as outright winners.
All right, Tim, I defer to you. I'm just going to throw these out there. You tell me if it's dumb, if it's something I should play or not.
Okay.
Outright winner, Rory at plus 950. Second outright winner, pick 2, is Tommy Fleetwood at plus 1,500.
A lot of people in that area will be pulling for him. That's where he's from.
I'm going to do a top 20, Xander Schauffele at plus 110. And then give me a top 20 with Robert McIntyre.
Bobby Mack, the Scotsman,
at plus 110.
Like those plays, this is my official card right here. I have Henley at plus 4,500, as I made reference to. Of course, the under on 268.5 shots to win it is my favorite play. A 3-leg parlay, and I love the price on this. It's more than plus 3,000. Henley top 10 finish, Morikawa top 10 finish, and Fitzpatrick top 20 finish. and that pays 30 plus to 1, 3,100. Plus 3,100. And then 2 long shots, because we always like to do a little long shot for you. I cannot move off my guy, Alex Smalley. I refuse to move off it's my guy. It's going to happen at some point.
That's his ride or die.
He was the leader going into Sunday at the PGA Championship. Plus 15,000. Plus 15,000.
There you go.
Yeah, I mean, that's big time numbers. And Sahith Theegala, I'm alarmed by this number. Plus 17,500. Those would be my 2 long shot plays who I could see sneaking up.
What about a John Rahm top 10 plus 210?
So I love playing daily fantasy sports where you build out a lineup of 6 golfers, and because Rahm has not played well as of late, you may the whole goal on daily fantasy is to build a roster that with players who you'd think are going to do well, but also who everybody else isn't going to play. And I could see Rahm having value on the latter because he hasn't done well as of late, and perhaps people would be in fade mode. I'll be curious how people treat Scheffler coming off of his first missed cut in more than 70 events last week. Is it an indication of some kind of struggle, an injury, or did he just not have it? And then it benefited him because he was able to get to Royal Birkdale earlier and actually focus on that golf course and not mess around at the Scottish Open. I'll be curious to see how he plays as the defending champion, albeit at a different golf course, and somebody who can strike the ball as well with the tightest of shot dispersions like Scheffler. Could he just run away with this thing? That's certainly, of course, anytime he tees it up, that's in play.
Yeah, this tournament is an early wake-up special in the States.
Oh,
are you watching Sunrise Golf, guys?
I love it. I'll be waking up tomorrow as we do our morning shows, and Scotty Scheffler will be like making the turn.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, that's how early they'll be teeing off.
Anthony, how do you see this tournament going?
Well, call me a sentimental favorite here, but give me the hometown kid.
Tommy Fleet.
Give me Tommy Fleetwood. Has not won a event this year. Consistent, though. And as I'm looking now, he ranks 3rd on the tour in strokes gained and around the green. So he tends to be trending in the right direction, heating up Riz, and this is obviously somebody that he deserves at some point a major victory.
Outright win at plus 1,500.
Sign me
Tommy Fleetwood.
Tommy Fleetwood Mac.
I would love to see it. I would love to see it. You guys are on it together.
We're on that.
Yep.
We're on that.
What's it going to be like when Alex Smalley rights all of the wrongs? Yeah.
I'll buy
my guy, Minwoo Lee.
Of course. That's the first Minwoo Lee reference that we've had.
First of many.
Yeah.
Anything else, Anthony, on this?
No, like I said, I like Tommy Fleetwood. Okay. I do have a question for Tim.
Yes.
Is there I always ask you these because I really enjoy the head-to-head. They take the...
Oh, yeah.
They simplify things, right? Where you could just take this golfer over this golfer. He could barely make the cut and still win you some dough because it's just a head-to-head. You got any head-to-heads for us?
Well, let's take a look at these head-to-heads. You always have those make versus misses and then head-to-head plays. I'll tell you what, like I said, you're going to get some good value on a couple of guys that I think are legitimately in the mix to win it. The only thing I would say on my guy Smalley is for whatever reason, 2 of the last 3 tournaments he's played in, he just hasn't had it. But overall, for the last 2 years, he's been one of the best players in golf who is not a household name, which is why there's a lot of value on that. But with regard to head-to-head, Anthony, I am not seeing anything.
That's fine. I'll put you on the spot.
Note, I apologize.
No, you're good.
I do not see anything on the head-to-head.
Those are always fun to play.
Yeah, I do. I like
always fun to play.
because you can be done on Friday afternoon if a guy misses the cut and your guy makes the cut. Doesn't matter what he shoots. He's won the head-to-head.
All right, well, let's take a break right here. Of course, today's episode is sponsored by FanDuel Sportsbook. This is the time of year where value shows up fast. Majors, futures, second half baseball, and FanDuel is where we're building the card. After the break, we're talking NFL futures and yardage lines. It's the Spread Zone. All right, welcome back to the Spread Zone, sponsored by FanDuel Sportsbook. The market before the market. Getting ahead of the move, Anthony. That's what NFL futures is all about. This is where you're either early or you're donating.
Yep.
So we're talking passing yards, rushing yards, receiving yards, and here's the angle. What you want: volume, you want roll clarity, and you want to bet numbers before preseason hype reprices everything.
Yes, and it's really good, Riz, if you're dedicating some of your bankroll to the player props, having an idea of how the season's going to play out. So, for example, I'm looking at some of our odds here at our partners at FanDuel. And one of the things that really jumps out to me about the passing yards this season is you got a couple of guys that, in Joe Burrow, that's obvious. Stafford led the league in passing last year. He's plus 900. You're getting some pretty good value. Now, you're not taking the big swing and hitting it, but the guy that I like, actually, let me reverse engineer this here. So when you're looking at a passing yards leader, what are some of the things that you need? One, obviously, you need to have an OC that's going to lean more towards the pass. Two, do you have a defense that's going to allow some points so that you need to chase in games later on? The teams that are really good, typically you're up. Fourth quarter, you're trying to take the air out of the ball. That zaps some of your yardage. Three, and this is kind of an underrated thing. What's your schedule look like?
Yeah.
Do you have a weaker schedule?
Yeah.
This all leads me to Jared Goff at plus 750.
Oh, you were going.
This is not a massive swing, okay? This is not
as the passing leader.
Yes. And I think you've got some, I don't know if you got Jared Goff specifically, Riz, but I know you've got the individual numbers on certain guys. This is not Jalen Hurts at plus 5,000, okay? This isn't, your big swing. But Jared Goff at plus 750. They hired Drew Petzig, to be their offensive coordinator. He was in Arizona last year. I don't know if you guys watched the Cardinals. They threw a ton. Yeah. Now, they didn't have Jahmyr Gibbs. That factors in. Obviously, Gibbs gives them, you're giving Gibbs to Petzig now. You're probably going to run the ball a little bit more. But Gibbs also is a dynamic pass catcher. With Petzig, Goff, they're trying to focus on, getting the reviving and restructuring this potent Lions attack. Last place schedule. People forget the Lions finished dead last in the NFC North last year. So you got a favorable schedule, got a team that I think is going to pass a lot. You got a veteran quarterback, and you got a quarterback in Jared Goff who finished second last year behind only Matthew Stafford.
Sure.
So I think that this is a play. Yeah. If you're looking right now on July 15th, you got a little bankroll that you want to dedicate to some future props. I like Jared Goff to lead the league in passing at plus 750.
What I was looking at was some of these over-under numbers. So like for my first pick here, passing yards over or under 3,550 and a half yards for C.J. Stroud. I'm going to give me the over on that. Over 3,550 and a half passing yards. You're betting a quarterback and an offense that wants to push it with the kind of weekly game scripts where 260, 290 becomes normal. It's not about one 420-yard explosion. It's about stacking professional, efficient weeks. So that's one pick for me. And then I'm going to go Breece Hall, your New York Jets.
Wow. Okay.
Wow. Over or under 900 and a half yards. I'm going to take the over on that. You don't need 1,600 yards to cash. Just health plus a steady workload. 900 and a half rushing yards seems reasonable to me. Yeah. If he's the engine of the backfield there, this is the kind of line that could be beat by October.
Yeah. You're right about that.
Yeah, he's a dynamic talent. He got paid in the offseason. Yeah. They're bringing back Geno Smith, so probably not putting the ball in the air a lot. You're going to want to lean on your defense. You got to. Here's the thing that I like about that player is think who the head coach is. It's Aaron Glenn.
Yeah.
Defensive background. When you have somebody that has a defensive background, they always look to protect what? Their own defense, which means run the ball consistently. So if you're looking at some correlation, you got a defensive-minded head coach. You got a quarterback that's not going to put the ball in the air a lot, and a dynamic talent in Breece Hall.
And again, we'll wrap this up by October, cash out, and be good.
I like it.
Nice, yeah.
While we're talking running backs, I was shocked. I was looking at these odds, and I'm scrolling down. To lead the league in rushing this year, Christian McCaffrey's plus 2,200. He is behind Jonathan Taylor, Derrick Henry, James Cook, who led the league last year, Jahmyr Gibbs, Bijan Robinson, Saquon Barkley, who I also like in a bounce-back year, and Devon Achane. I'm sorry, and hold on, let me continue. Javonte Williams and Kyron Williams has the same number at plus 2,200. I'm shocked by this, outside of the fact that McCaffrey's got to stay healthy. He did last year.
Yeah.
He finished 8th, 311 attempts, 1,200 yards, did finish behind, 7 other guys, but he also led the league with the 49ers in rushing back in 2014, 23.
So this would be to lead the league. And
Lead the league in rushing at plus 2,200.
Wow, we're getting 20 to 1 on our money.
Yes, sir.
How about that?
Really good offensive line, top 10 offensive line. And Kyle Shanahan, a lot of people think, he loves to throw. He doesn't. It's a misconception. He wants to run the ball to set up the pass. So I like Christian McCaffrey a lot to lead the league in rushing.
Cool.
And then the only other thing that I note, and by the way, I'm keeping track, fellas. All right, we're not going to just wing picks and not keep track.
Anthony's writing everything down.
I'm writing everything down.
Hey,
I'm
my
motivated by
spreadsheet's
Tim.
almost ready to go for the football season.
Tim's got us
love the
covered
spreadsheet.
each and every week when it comes to that spreadsheet. Yep. I want to help out a little bit though.
Right. What do we got?
So I'm writing down some stuff. So the other thing I wanted to note here, receiving yards. Since we did quarterbacks with passing, we did rushing, receiving yards. This one, you don't get a lot of repeats. But Jackson Smith and Jigba at plus 650. The leader, the odds-on favorite is Puka Nacua at plus 550 to lead the league in receiving yards. I don't know who's competing with Jackson Smith and Jigba in Seattle when it comes to not only leading Seattle, but leading the league again in receiving yards. Jamar Chase, everybody loves him. Great. Led the league a couple years ago in receiving yards, but he's competing with guys like T. Higgins who got paid. Jackson Smith and Jigba, Cooper, he's got Cooper Kupp. Shaheed is more of a return guy, gadget guy. The tight ends are good, but not that great. I think Jackson Smith and Jigba plus 650.
That really, because of course we heard the term back in the day. You don't really see it as much anymore. Bell cow running back. But in Seattle, when it comes to their passing game, that would be the bell cow wide receiver.
Yep.
And whereas Chase can put up games that if you go up against him in fantasy football and he has one of those games where you're just doomed, those will happen. Justin Jefferson, before the debacle with Minnesota's passing game last year, was that guy. But Smith and Jigma is a guy that's a blue chip stock.
Absolutely.
So that translates really well. And so you're getting 6.5 to 1?
You're getting 6.5 to 1. Yep.
Wow.
Again, you don't see a lot of repeat winners.
Yeah.
He did lead the league last year, and you are going from Clint Kubiak to a new OC.
Yeah.
So I get it. There's some crossover here.
But who's competing for the touches?
Exactly. You're looking at this depth
and getting
chart.
6 to 1 on that.
Yeah, it's Cooper Kupp.
That ain't gonna be.
He's he's a possession guy at this point. Right. Really good possession guy, and Shaheed, who is more of a returner and a gadget guy.
Wow.
Your tight ends, AJ Barner, good, not somebody that's going to command a lot. They got some other tight ends too that they like.
Could the reason for the number be that defenses are therefore just going to focus on attempting to shut him down, and that would be why
Tim,
it is?
It's a great question. It's one I thought about before the podcast, but they were doing it last year.
Yeah, and he still did what he did.
Exactly.
That really surprises me because you're right. There isn't another guy.
Whereas you're looking at some of these other players, Puka Nacua, you can make the same argument there, but you do have Devontae Adams. Jamar Chase has got T. Higgins. Amon-Ra St. Brown, whether it's Jahmyr Gibbs or Jamison Williams or, their tight end that they like. The kid out of Highland here in St. Louis. Why am I forgetting his name now? The tight end for the Lions.
Sam Laporta.
Thank you, Sam Laporta. That's where you got Tim here.
Yeah.
Perfect.
It's all about the spreadsheet.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. But anyway, Justin Jefferson could have a big bounce back year, but there's a lot of weapons there in Minnesota. Mm-hmm. So anyways, those are my numbers. Jackson Smith and Jigba plus 650. Then I've got Jared Goff as well to lead the league in passing. And then your rushing leader at plus 2,200, which I really like, CMC.
All right, let's
CMC Factory.
CMC Factory.
Let's take a break right here. We'll come back. We'll talk Major League Baseball futures after the All-Star break. It's the Spread Zone presented by FanDuel. All right, we are back on the Spread Zone, sponsored by FanDuel Sportsbook. All right, Major League Baseball after the All-Star break is when the season splits into two sports. So the first half is talent. The second half is depth, it's deadlines, it's bullpens, and whether your ace can give you 6 innings in October without your manager sweating through his hoodie. So, and the futures market is now, guys, it starts reacting like an adult finally. So just looking at some of these numbers, World Series favorites, Dodgers plus 165, Yankees plus 550. My first pick here, my favorite pick, World Series value, Milwaukee Brewers at plus 1,000 in that 10 to 1, that 10 to 1 range. What do you guys think about that?
Well, I get it. because Milwaukee, the kings of the regular season,
if they could win ugly. I mean, they could win ugly when the weather gets cold and the bats go quiet on some of these other teams.
They are one of the smartest organizations in Major League Baseball. They are the Tampa Bay Rays of the National League.
They are,
and they've got they've got a bona fide ace in Jacob Misiorowski. In fact, right? it's not only just Jacob Misiorowski. The pitching, Milwaukee has the best overall pitching staff in baseball, including the relievers.
And are you guys willing to bet against the Dodgers?
Sure.
In a World Series future, or do you think it's just lighting money on fire?
And are you?
Yes. My answer to your question is yes.
Right.
I am. I wouldn't on the whole thing with season-long plays on the Dodgers. We did this at the start of the season, and I can't recall what the number was. I think it was minus 325 for the Dodgers to win the NL West. And it was a play that laying 325 seems just ridiculous but man, how often do you get the proverbial sure thing when you're talking about sports gambling? And the Dodgers to win the National League West, and the reason why with 100, that's why I love baseball betting and season-long plays, because the variance that comes in the first segment talking about betting the British Open, so much variance because of weather, it makes it a tough bet. 162-game sample size really reduces that variance, and that's why the Dodgers play was so great. But a 7-game series, or as baseball now has 3-game series and 5-game series, anything can happen. I mean, the Dodgers, as we're sitting here during the All-Star break, are on a 3-game losing streak. But still, their win total is well into the 100s. Last time I checked, it was 104.5. The issue I guess I would have with that play is I feel like 10-1 isn't enough value, even though if you were to ask me the second most likely team to come out of the National League, I would absolutely say the Milwaukee Brewers. I think a lot of people would say the second most likely team. Well, I'll ask you guys. Who would you say?
Braves?
No, I don't. I
second most likely team to do what?
Come out of the National League.
I would say the Phillies.
Yeah, that's where that's where I would be. I feel like the Braves are kind of trending down. I think they've been hanging around 500 since June 1st.
Of course, you also have to believe that the Braves' offensive struggles are going to continue, and guys like Olsen and Acuna and Ozzie Albies. I'm not sure, but
right.
I get it.
And Drake Baldwin fell off the map.
Right.
I'm legitimately intrigued by the Brewers. The Brewers are a team that are starting to get into that category of they're always there, but they never can get to the final spot. The last time we saw them in the World Series was 1982. It's the only time they've been there, but they're always in the postseason. I think every year in the 20s they've been there but one, but they can't get over the hump.
All right, another play I'm looking at is the Seattle Mariners to win the AL.
Yeah, they were a focus of our preseason show.
Yep.
At plus 460. In October, pitching turns to currency. And, okay, are the Yankees a shoo-in to win the pennant? Nobody knows if Judge is coming back.
Who is in the American League? That's the thing.
Stanton, who knows? He plays every once in a while now.
Yeah.
As I said, in October, pitching turns to currency. Short series, punish mistakes, and you could hedge the World Series later if you need to. This is a clean get there first ticket. So the Mariners to win the AL at plus 460. Now, for you, Anthony, are you riding with the pitching first team, or do you want an offense that can erase everything?
No, pitching
can erase anything.
No, great question. Pitching and defense, especially from here on out. In the regular season, yes, offenses can carry you. You get into the postseason, especially some of these short series, if you don't have a bona fide 1-2, good luck. Or a bona fide 1-2, or a 1-2 that pitches well at the right time. Seattle, Riz, I'm glad you brought up the Mariners. I love the Mariners at minus 120 at our partners at FanDuel to win the AL West. At minus 120, I mean, they're the only team, let me not misspoke here. Yes, they're the only team in that division with a plus run differential. Now it's plus 16. They're not blowing anybody away, but they're dealing with injuries. Cal Raleigh has been in a season-long slump. Obviously, he's been out. They're going to get healthy, but that pitching staff is, like you mentioned, for my money, that's still the best overall pitching staff, not just starters, overall pitching staff in the American League. I love that play, and like I said, I'll add the Mariners winning the AL West at minus 120.
I got 3 for you, boys.
Sure.
I got 3 for you, boys. 2 are in the award category.
Okay.
American League Manager of the Year. Will Venable of the Chicago White Sox at plus 130.
Oh, I love it.
I don't know how that is not a different number. I suppose they could fall off, but they're in a division that lends itself to have at it the rest of the way. We were talking about divisions with your NFL plays, Anthony. I realize the baseball schedule has altered the manner with which it did business a few years ago, but either way, the White Sox are the story of baseball, specifically in the American League for certain, at plus 130. Will Venable to win the American League Manager of the Year.
That's a great play.
I couldn't love it more. And I realize this is minus money, but I don't know who is even in the category. I suppose if you wanted to go with a guy who's come on as of late, is Esmeralyn Valdez in Pittsburgh, and he's just been on a heater with his power numbers, but he spent most of the year in the minor leagues with the Pirates. But J.J. Wetherholt with the Cardinals is minus 160. He is putting up a wins above replacement number that is great if he were a 7-8 year veteran.
This be JJ for Rookie of the Year?
For National League Rookie of the Year is minus 160. Again, I realize it's minus 160, but the second shortest number is Sal Stewart at plus 280, and it's Wetherholt's in a different category, wins above replacement. The people who vote on this thing focus on those kinds of numbers. Wetherholt Wetherholt's more of a sure thing than anything, I think. I realize you're paying minus 160 on it. And then if you just want a fun little play to go outside of the Dodgers and Yankees box, I could see this happening because I think the Cubs got themselves in a spot last year where their fan base felt like they missed out on an opportunity to capitalize on a quality team, not a great team, but a quality team. You're always subservient in the National League to the Dodgers. And they will be aggressive at the deadline here in a few weeks. And then going back to my White Sox play, Cubs-White Sox World Series, if those two were to meet, you put $100 on that, Riz, you will be handed $15,468.79.
Wow.
There you go. $15,000 if we have a North Side versus South Side World Series. I think the Cubs will be aggressive. If you were asking me who I think is going to represent the National League, of course I would say Dodgers, but I agree Phillies and Brewers would be the play. I just think that you're going to see the Cubs be aggressive here at the deadline, and they need to tend to their pitching. They've dealt with a lot of injuries. We know the importance of pitching. That's why we're high on the Brewers. I think the Cubs will tend to it. I don't know if they will be going to Detroit to see if they can pry Tarek Skubal away from the Tigers at the deadline, but that would be my value play, kind of looking ahead to what I think the tea leaves are, and I just think the Chicago White Sox are flying under the radar because they're the Chicago White Sox.
I got one more little play for you. This is a playoff ticket play. Twins to make the playoffs at plus 340. 3 games out in the AL Central and tied with the Mariners for the last wild card spot.
No, the team that's got some top-end pitching right there. I mean, the depth isn't quite there, but the top-end pitching is there.
Joe Ryan.
I'll give you one, too. White Sox to win the division, plus 180. Come on now.
I'm buying those Southsiders.
It's a fun story, but it's a good team, too. Young team. Riz doesn't know any better. Just doing
That's
his thing.
it. Just naive.
Yep, naive
and just doing their thing.
They're legit.
Yep, plus 180 for the White Sox to win the division.
All right, gentlemen, I think that is it for this week's Spread Zone. Let's go make some money this weekend, all right?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Does anybody know what the odds were for Jordan Walker to win the home run derby?
Of course I do.
Yeah. Of course you do. I just want one last thing. Come
Plus 650.
Nice.
Plus 650. Yep. And
obviously Schwarber was the favorite.
Schwarber was the favorite. Wilson Contreras was the longest shot at like plus 1,300. Yep.
All right, that's it. We will see you next week on the Spread Zone, presented by FanDuel.
We provide information about sports betting for entertainment purposes only. Please confirm gambling regulations in your state of residence. To participate in sports gaming, you must be 21 years of age or older and be physically present in a state where sports betting is legal. If you or someone you know has a sports betting or gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org for more information and further assistance.